a caveman!
Okay, so in this video we'll be learning how to deadlift. I will be the deadlift 师傅 Caleb, and this is Zhirong or Ivan. He's the deadlift
Disciple.
徒弟 or the disciple. Yes. so the 师傅 will be teaching the 徒弟 how to deadlift, and hopefully you all can learn also.
Yes.
So yeah, we also broke down this video into particular segments. So if you want to skip to a specific segment, right, you can refer to the timeline. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so Ivan, the first part of a deadlift is to understand what muscles are being used in the deadlift. The deadlift uses three main muscle groups, and the reason why I use three main muscle groups is because it's a hip hinge movement. So what is a hip hinge movement? If you look at the picture on the left, right, this is a door.
Yes.
Right, it's a door, and it's hinging about a specific pivot point, which is this guy right here.
So your hinge is kind of like pivoting.
Yeah,
let's
it's like
say
pivoting.
Okay.
Right, so similarly, right, if you compare to like this guy, this guy on the right, you can see that if you imagine that his upper body is like the door, he's folding, he's pivoting around his hip. That's why it's called a hip hinge.
So I'm using the mouse. So
Yeah.
like this area, like this is the pivot, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, this is the pivot.
It's a pivot.
Yeah, so similar to this one.
I see. Okay.
So that's why the deadlift is called hip hinge movement. Okay, so the three main muscle groups that I was talking about are here, right? There's so many here. So the main ones are your erector spinae, which is your lower back muscles.
Oh, okay.
Okay, your glutes, which is your butt. Okay,
Okay.
and your hamstrings. So these three are the main muscle groups for the deadlift.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Okay, there's a lot of people that sometimes they'll think that, oh, if I feel my lower back during the deadlift, I'm doing it wrongly. Do you feel that? Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I guess from online sources and stuff like that,
Yeah.
they say that if you use a lower back, you feel like if it's like pain, yeah, then most probably are doing it wrongly. Basically, you're carrying the weights with your lower back.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
But actually, right, I already said that the deadlift, one of the three major muscle groups is your lower back muscle, which is the erector spinae, right?
Yep.
So, you have to differentiate between feeling lower back soreness versus lower back pain. To differentiate between muscle soreness and muscle pain, right? So it's the kind of like the quote unquote pain. So for example, muscle soreness, if you go and do a bench press and you let's say you do bench press, you're supposed to train your chest, right? Then the next day you feel like this like dull aching kind of ache right in your chest.
Okay.
Right, that's what's we call as muscle soreness.
Okay.
Right. So similarly, if you do a deadlift, then the next day you feel like an aching pain in your lower back, especially if it's your first time deadlifting, is perfectly normal. It's a lower back soreness. Okay. But what is pain, right? Pain, the difference is that instead of a aching feeling, you feel a very sharp sensation. Like it's almost like somebody stabbed you, that kind of pain.
So basically, the difference is that one is kind of like just sore in, there's like no particular like pinpoint.
Yes,
it's
correct.
just like the entire like
It's
muscle
like a
group,
general
right?
area that
General area.
Yeah, correct.
But then for like and so-called pain or like injury would be like one specific like point, like a needle like
yes, correct. Let's say I
Ah,
stab you,
okay.
right, and then like at that one area, wow,
It's just
freaking
that
painful. Yes.
Ah,
Then that is pain. Okay, so as long as you don't feel that kind of like very sharp sensation of pain, right?
at one particular area.
At one particular area, as long as you don't feel that, it's fine. Okay,
Okay.
you don't have to worry about lower back soreness and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So moving on, as you can see from the video, right, or the picture, the deadlift is from the floor exercise. You pick up the weight from the floor, correct?
Okay.
So you want to generate as much power from the floor as possible, right?
Okay.
So how do we do that, right? You need to maintain as much contact on the ground as possible.
What do you mean by that?
So like, for example, if you look at this guy is barefooted,
Yes.
correct? If you compare, let's say he wear running shoes.
Okay.
Okay, running shoes, right? Because there's a lot of cushion,
Okay.
then it will actually reduce the contact area on the floor.
Oh, is it because the running shoe they're kind of like at an angle? So basically, yeah, like most of the time it's like the sole and basically they will be at like this angle, right?
Yeah.
So basically, like this part of the legs, right, wouldn't be in
Correct.
the floor. So basically, running shoes are bad.
Running shoes are bad for deadlifting.
So
Okay.
basically, best is flat.
So the best is, yes, the flat Converse shoe or like any kind of flat shoe that allows you to have as much area of contact to the ground as possible.
Okay. So
Okay.
this is still not the best, because you can see it from the toe, right? You can still.
But most shoes like that lah.
Yeah.
Where got shoe? I never see shoe like that.
You still most contact, right?
But
Okay.
but then the next best alternative, right, is what do you think?
Barefoot.
Correct, barefoot.
Barefoot.
Like the guy just now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now we will move on to starting the deadlift. There is no right or wrong way to deadlift. It's only there's a efficient or inefficient way to deadlift. I will demonstrate this by using this video. Okay, so this is a video of me deadlifting. Okay, so if I were to play it, right, this is very, very slow motion. You can see that when I pull the weight up, I'm traveling in a straight line. How to illustrate this is, let's say if I move on, this is the picture on the left is me at the start, the picture on the right is me at the end, right?
Okay.
If I overlap these two pictures together and I put a red circle at the center of the bar, you can see that I'm traveling in almost like a straight line. The bar moves in a straight line, up and down. Okay. The reason why this is an efficient deadlift is because it's the least distance traveled. Okay, so let's say if you start off very far and then you're pulling it towards yourself, right? Technically, you are traveling a greater distance. If you're traveling a greater distance, means you need more energy. You need more energy means it's an inefficient deadlift.
I see.
Okay, so the best deadlift is up and down. That's it.
Up and down. Okay.
So in order to achieve up and down, how do we do it? It means the deadlift, the bar, to start off, it must be super close to you, right?
Yes.
It must be super, super close to you.
Yes.
So the cue that I always try to tell people is that it must be scraping your shins.
Scraping?
Yeah, so it's like almost like when you start, right, the bar is dragging up your shins like that, because that's super close to you, super close contact to you.
I see.
Okay, once we establish that the bar must be super close to you, right, I'll teach you two main methods of doing the deadlift. Okay, the first method is I like to call the static method. So the static method basically refers to you just go down, the bar touch your shins, and then you just drag it up your shins and then stand up. Okay, so I'll show you an example. This is what you did. Okay, so you start off with the bar already touching your shins already, right? Then you just drag it up your shins, pull all the way up. Okay, this is the normal static method. Okay, so just now what I said, right, the efficient deadlift must be traveling up and down straight, like vertical up and down, right? So as long as it's scraping up your shins, right, it's a guaranteed up and down.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the first method. The second method is what we call the rolling method. The rolling method, right, is what I like to use. Instead of starting super close to the bar, you go actually way further from the bar.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what's the purpose of this, right? Because if you go very far from the bar, how you start is actually you roll the weight towards yourself.
Oh, okay.
You roll the weight towards yourself such that it touches your shins and then you come up. So it's like a rolling start to pull up. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. Okay, so see, he started very fast, so you roll, he touches the shins. Okay, and then from here, then he drags up the shins.
So it's basically like when I pull close to myself, it's basically the same position as static position.
Correct.
It's just that now I'm just more comfortable because the weight is further away from me and I kind of have like more control over it. Rather than I just put the weight close to me and then I'll be like more uncomfortable.
But it's still personal preference. Some people prefer to start like static, like just go down, grab it, touch the shins. Some people like for example for me, I like to roll, touch, and come up.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. So but the main principle is still the same. The bar has to be super close to you so that it travels up and down in a straight line.
Okay.
That's still the same. The
fundamental concept.
Yes, the fundamental concept is still there. So now we will talk about sitting back in the deadlift. So if you look at the left and the right picture, right, what's the main difference you can see?
I guess one is basically my butt was
very high, right?
Yeah, very high, yes.
On the left one, right? Then the right one is like much lower, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so which one is more powerful? Is the right one is actually more powerful. Why? Is because, right, when you are so over the bar, you're actually more inclined to use your hamstring and your lower back muscles. Okay, even though I say that that's the correct muscles to use, actually if you sit back more, right, one muscle that you can actually engage more is actually your quads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can actually bring your quads into this, right, if you sit back even more. So when you have extra help from your quads, right, then you can actually have more power in deadlift lah, right?
I see.
So if you compare, see the red one, I actually put a marker at where your shoulder is, and the blue is where I put the marker at where the barbell is, right? You can see that in the right, it's more in a straight line compared to the left one. So ideally we want to follow more of the right one. So if you remember, you did this, right? The right one actually feels much stronger than left, right?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes,
right?
Correct.
Yeah, simply because you can generate more power from your quads in addition to your lower back and your hamstring muscle also.
Oh, okay. So other than putting as straight as possible, but basically if you're as straight as possible, it's easier for us to generate force through our quads.
Correct.
Basically, and our glutes are basically.
Correct.
I see.
So we learn two main principles first. The first main principle is you have to be as close to the bar as possible, right? Scraping up the shins, dragging up the shins. The second principle is that you have to sit back such that your shoulder is almost in line with the barbell to start off. That's how you get a very strong powerful deadlift.
Okay.
Okay. And most of the time when you start at the right, the lower back soreness won't be as jialat compared to the left. Because the left one is really very lower back dominant because you cannot really take power from the quad.
I see. So so basically it's kind of like the weight of the deadlift or like
distributed across the muscles more even. Yeah, correct lah.
I see. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's the essentially all for deadlifting. Okay, deadlifting is not that difficult, okay, but it's not that difficult. But now we'll move on to core bracing. Okay, so what I have here, right, is actually a picture of a random guy, and I'll use this random guy to teach you what is called intra-abdominal pressure, or IAP. Intra-abdominal, let's break it down. Intra-abdominal means inside your abdomen.
Okay.
Pressure is pressure lah, basically like the force output lah. Okay, so we want the pressure in your abdomen to be as high as possible so that it stabilizes and protects your core muscles and your lower back muscles.
Okay.
So what are the muscles that are used to create this pressure, right? The main muscles are your diaphragm, core muscle, which is your six pack lah, basically your six pack.
Okay.
So these three muscles, right, are what help you create that brace core that people are always talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so how do you see when how do you do it, right? Is basically you breathe in, and instead of breathing into your lungs, you breathe into your kind of like a stomach, but it's not really called a stomach, but it's like breathing downwards rather than breathing upwards. So it's like breathing into your stomach, you down.
So how do I know if I'm doing it correctly or not?
Okay, so how do you know you're doing it correctly, right? Is let's say if you put your hands on your hips.
Okay.
Okay. When you breathe, you should feel your hips expand.
Hips expand.
So it should come out. So it should open up.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is that when you breathe, right, your lungs shouldn't come out. Your chest shouldn't pop out.
Oh,
that's wrong. Okay, because that's breathing up. You want to breathe down.
Oh, so that's what you mean by breathing downwards, because your hips kind of like expanded by your chest?
Yes, by the air and by all the pressure that you create.
Okay.
So two things. Breathe down such that your hips expand and your chest shouldn't pop out. Your chest pop out means that you're breathing into your lungs already, which is wrong.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so now I will teach you some tips on how to brace your core properly, because bracing core is not natural. You have to like slowly pick it up over time.
So it's a technique that can be perfected.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So one way of doing it is to try to brace at the top. So before you even go down into this position, right, you breathe down into your stomach first, and then you just hold it, and then you perform the deadlift. Okay. Personally, I don't like this because I cannot hold my breath for that long. Okay. So the second way I'll teach you is when you're at this position already, downstairs already. Okay, so how I would like to teach it is I'll breathe such that I'll breathe into my lower back.
What do you mean by that?
So when I breathe into my lower back, right, I imagine when I take a deep breath in through my nose, the air goes into my lower back such that the air is kind of like inflating my lower back.
Okay.
So deep breath, I feel like that. I visualize the air going down into my lower back muscle.
So you're kind of like forcing, like I imagine the air is like forcing down.
Correct, into the lower back such that the lower back like pops out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you can try that method. That's how I visualize core bracing, because actually core bracing is not just expanding out, like having a fat belly. Core bracing is all rounded. Your whole torso must come out, not just the front pop out only.
Oh, okay.
So that's why if you breathe into your lower back, the back pops out, the front, the sides most likely will pop out also.
Because that's the most difficult area to fill up, right?
Correct. If I ask you to just breathe into your stomach, push out your stomach like a fat belly, confirm you cannot.
Yes.
Right. But I ask you to breathe into your lower back, you need to think.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So that's one way you can do it. Okay, so two ways: breathe at the top, hold it, or go down, breathe at the lower back. Which one would you prefer?
when I was trying to do this, I think breathing through the lower back is much easier.
Why?
Yeah, because like what you said, it's hard to hold your breath
Yeah.
there.
But what
Yeah.
if you're doing multiple reps of a deadlift? So where do you breathe then? Right? Where do you brace? Where do you brace then? Or does it mean you brace and you just hold for all the reps? You can do that, but you will pass out. So how I'll do for multiple reps, okay? Two ways again. So the multiple reps, when first way, you brace already, you lift up the weight already. Before the weight comes down, you breathe again. So at the top again.
So basically you let out your breath or like your brace
At the top.
at the top.
Then you re-brace again while
Rebrace.
holding the weight.
Oh, also while you're holding the weight.
Yes.
So you do not do it below?
That's one way. The second way is lift up, put down again, reset the whole thing again at the bottom again.
Okay. So basically it depends on like how fast you want to do it lah.
Yes, but actually, some people prefer the at the top one, right? Because it's actually much easier to brace at the top compared to the bottom lah.
Oh.
Yeah, but with practice, you can do it at the bottom also. I like to do it at the bottom lah.
Oh, because I feel like at the top, right, you know, like maybe if you are doing a very heavy deadlift, right, you're already very tired, then you must still
Yeah,
hold
then you
the
still must
weight.
hold the weight and then you
Yeah,
need to breathe,
correct.
right? Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
At least you put down, right, and then you can rest a bit,
Exactly,
you know, rest for that
exactly.
period, and then basically you still tell yourself, it's not resting, I'm bracing.
Exactly. Okay, so we're on to the fourth section, which is pulling the slack out of the bar. Okay, so what is pulling slack? I'll show you an example using this video, okay? A slowed down version of me pulling slack. Okay, that's all. So, do you notice anything? It's very hard to notice. It's very, very difficult to notice, but let me do this. Okay, so this is, the picture on the left is me before pulling slack. The picture on the right is me pulling slack already. Just one look, can you tell the difference? You can't really tell.
I can't really tell the difference. It looks almost the same.
Right, but what if I combine these two images like this? Can you sort of tell a difference?
Your butt is a bit higher,
Correct,
I guess.
correct.
Yeah.
So these are I have two main differences. The first one is my butt. My butt is raised higher. Right. So why do I raise my butt when I pull slack, right? When you raise your butt, you're actually pulling on your hamstring, tightening your hamstring.
Okay.
Right? Remember the hamstring I say that is one of the three major muscle groups for deadlifting, right? So pulling the hamstring to start, right, is sort of like preparing your hamstring for the lift, making sure it's tight first.
Oh, so activating your hamstring.
Activating the hamstring, getting ready for the lift.
Okay.
The next difference I have is actually the bar. So if I look before and after, you can see that the bar sort of like bends. Right?
Okay.
It's because I'm applying pressure through my hands. But it's not really tugging per se, but it's because I'm visualizing that my hands is actually connected to my hamstring. So if you notice, right, when my butt raises, my hands move together as well.
Oh.
So it's not I'm actively pulling one and then not doing the other. I'm doing both at the same time.
So basically, from what you're saying, right? So see if whatever I'm saying is correct, and I'm understanding it.
Okay.
So basically, you're kind of like pulling slack is like making the weight, which is the bar, basically as one entity with you.
Correct, something like that.
Okay.
The reason why people pull slack, right? Because I think people always say pull slack, like they don't even understand what pull slack means, right? Pull slack, basically the purpose is to create tension with the bar. Okay, so why do you need to create tension? Because we don't create tension, you can lead to, when you first start, it will lead to energy leaks. Leaks in energy. Okay, when you leak energy, then it will lead to an inefficient deadlift. So in order to create a tension, the tightness, okay, this is the thing that you can do, which is to imagine that your hands are just hooks for your main movers of the deadlift, which is your butt and your hamstring. So as your butt raises and activate the hamstring, right, your hands will move together with the butt, such that it creates that tightness with the bar. Okay, yeah. So what you're saying, like creating the like one entity. Like the bar and yourself as one entity. Making the tightness there.
I see.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we've gone through how to start the deadlift, positioning, core brace, pull slack. Then now we're gonna put all of this together, okay? And I'll show you this video. You should be able to see everything in this one video. First, our show first is, you never see that I actually brace my core, but it's very difficult to see lah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's very difficult to see bracing core. But so breathing in already, then this is pulling slack. You can see that I
basically the bar is bent and your
the
butt
bar,
went higher.
yes, my hamstrings cause the bar to like bend.
Okay.
Okay. And what method do I use? Do I use the static method or the rolling method? Let's see. What method is this?
Yeah, so basically you use the rolling method.
Correct, I use the rolling method.
Because the bar isn't exactly your shin, but you roll it towards your shin.
Correct. And what's the two principles of doing a deadlift? The first one is that it must be dragging up the shin. So you can see that it's super close to the body, right?
So basically it's like
traveling
in a straight line.
Yes.
Traveling in a straight line.
And then the second principle is that I have to sit back. You see that from here, I sit back so that I can activate my quads, drag up the shins, and that's how I get deadlift. Good deadlift.
Okay. So basically your butt will just go a bit higher to just start a deadlift, but after when you actually start,
you sit back,
and after
drag up the shins, and you get a deadlift. Yes.
I see. Or maybe deadlift isn't that hard after all.
Deadlift isn't that hard after all. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, that's all for this video. Hope you learned something from the deadlift Sifu and the deadlift Tuti. And if you want us to go through more tutorials in the future, like how to do other exercises or bench press, squat, and all that kind of stuff, you can let us know. And yeah, we'll see you. Bye bye.